Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about Disney. And the reason why I want to talk about Disney because I think it's time for Disney to lose some stuff. And I know some people are rooting for the downfall of Disney, which honestly, at this point, actually they kind of do need to lose. They need to lose a lot, and the reason why is because they became Icarus. You know the story of Icarus. Icarus flew too high to the sun and burned. And that's the thing about it that I had been saying that for a long time. I don't know if anybody, if there are some people who probably know, if you guys have been following me on Instagram or whatever, how I have made it known that I had said that it was a mistake for Disney to buy Marvel. It was a mistake for Disney to buy Star Wars. It was a mistake for them to buy Fox. No matter what the situation is, it was always going to be a mistake for Disney to do what they did because of the fact that you have too many properties that Disney didn't create, and having them be the sole ownership of it without understanding what made these franchises popular and only using them just so they can have the IP was a mistake. And the reason why this is the reason why it showed its failure is because Disney failed with Power Rangers. Remember, the reason why Disney brought a lot of these franchises and property was because they wanted to get into the boy market, the men market, because people were saying that Disney caters mostly to women and children and families, which is fine because they have a big, large girl stuff, which is okay. That's fine. You know, it is what it is. But if you're going to buy these properties for that target, the most target audience is men, then you have to understand that you can't turn them into Disney princesses. You will have to turn it into a Disney prince line, which means that the men need to save the day, which means the men need to be doing the hard stuff, which means the men needs to be important. This whole we need female empowerment, we need the force is female doesn't make logical sense when you brought the properties in order to get a male audience. Why the hell would you buy a property that has a big major male audience and then get rid of it for females when you already had a female market, morons? And I understand people were like, well, what about the MCU? Honestly, I'd rather the MCU not have been under Disney, because when the MCU was starting, I think they were working with Universal, and I forgot who was the other company, that they were doing it on their own, but they were allowed to actually show things that Disney wouldn't allow. You know what I'm saying? Especially, like, look at the first Iron Man movie, look at the first Hulk movie, look at the first Captain America movie, and then look at Iron Man, and then look a little bit at Iron Man 2, where they had to kind of downplay a lot of things, and then it got a little bit more family friendly or whatever and stuff like that. So, you know, I really didn't like the fact that Disney sensibilities was being put into these franchises that they didn't create. And also what it did is it ignored the franchises and properties that they had before, because again, growing up as a 90s kid, Disney, I saw so many Disney characters, like, outside of just those movies. Goofy had a show, Donald Duck had a show, Mickey Mouse had a show, and then you had the you had the Mickey Mouse House of Mouse show that showed all of these legendary old cartoons where we got to see all of these amazing shows. I mean, all these amazing shorts that Disney and them did, you know, that Walt Disney and his family and all of the crews and stuff did back in the day. Belle had like a reading show for kids and stuff like that. The Little Mermaid had a prequel show. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was so many things. Like, Aladdin had a sequel show that led into the third Aladdin movie. You know what I'm saying? You had Gargoyles, you had Tailspin. You know what I mean? Like you had so many properties of Disney characters. So when people make a big deal about, you know, Disney changing these characters or ruining them, the reason why is because of the fact that Disney has showed a lot of these characters in so many different series and shows. Like they even had like Disney little comic book little things that if you went into the store, there was like a little book or whatever, and it had like little shorts, comic books of like their regular Disney characters. You don't see these Disney characters out like that. You really don't. You don't see Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Donald, and them out and about like that. You really don't. You don't really see shows or shorts that features them like that. You really don't. And then the new stuff that they are showing, the characters don't even look on model from, you know what I'm saying? Like, I seen that new Disney Mickey Mouse show. That looks terrible. That is trash. Walt Disney would have never approved of that bullshit. You know how much detail Walt Disney put into the original Mickey Mouse in them, when they, especially if you're not even gonna go with the first version of Mickey Mouse in them, even the current, like not that cartoon, cartoon one, but what you think when you see Mickey Mouse, if you guys seen Mickey Mouse Evolution, why would you want to downgrade the Mickey Mouse cartoon into like this gross looking damn cartoon, especially if you're not even going to make it look like Cuphead? You know what I'm saying? Cuphead is a good example of, if you really wanted to go with that 1930s classic look for the cartoons, you can, but it still needs to look on model. And that's the problem. And then if you ask me, I think Disney should sell their properties. But what they need to do is they need to package it. Like for instance, I would have to sell Fox. Fox was such a waste of time, it made absolutely no sense. But when you're selling Fox, you need to sell Marvel with Fox. Yeah, you need to sell everything that Marvel's doing with Fox accusation. So when somebody decides to buy Fox, they will get Marvel, all of it, all of Marvel. I know people are like, "Oh my God, yes, Fox should have Marvel if you want to sell it." That's what you got to do. Like, if you're gonna, because you remember they got to sell these channels as well. So you want to sell Fox, the company Fox, with all of its properties that includes The Simpsons, Futurama, Home Alone, all of that nonsense. You sell that, package it with Marvel, bam. There's like a few things out the way. If you're going to sell, because I mean that also goes with FX, so FX and stuff like that. Now, I think they should keep ABC in Freeform. That's just one of those things. But if you're going to, because I know they got to try to at least buy Hulu or sell Hulu, but I don't know if it's even worth the purchase. So if I was going to sell Hulu, then I would sell Hulu, but also give up Star Wars with Hulu. So that way, when somebody's buying Hulu, they also get the Star Wars stuff. That includes everything. That way, that can at least be sold for $5 billion, maybe. Because you're not going to get more than, you're not going to get that much. So $5 billion, $6 billion, maybe. You sell Star Wars with Hulu. Bam, there you go. Like I said, I think they should keep ABC, Freeform, and maybe ESPN. But maybe they might need to get rid of ESPN too, because it really kind of don't really make sense for Disney to even be involved in any kind of sports any goddamn way. So you just flat out sell ESPN to the highest bidder, because trust me, somebody's gonna want ESPN. I can already tell you that somebody's gonna want ESPN. And then y'all can do whatever y'all need to do. Maybe still keep a partnership deal where Some of ESPN stuff will still show on ABC, but that's what needs to happen. You can keep Pixar, but most definitely ESPN, Hulu, Marvel, Star Wars, they need to go. They needs to go. They really do need to go. Um, and I can't think of any other properties that I believe that Disney has, but those are the major ones that they kind of need to leave. Disney needs to be back to just being Disney, which means that they don't need to have characters that they never really created at all at their parks. That means all of that Marvel stuff needs to be fucking scrubbed. Guardians of the Galaxy need to be scrubbed. Um, Star Wars need to be scrubbed because you need to let somebody else have that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because Disney has grown too big for its britches, and again, it's forgetting what made Disney Disney. Because think about it, when you are buying nothing but other properties, you can't focus on your shit. And that's the problem. Disney hasn't been focusing on their shit for a long time, and the stuff that they focusing on when it comes to their shit is they're trying to fix something that's not broken. And that's the problem. Instead of trying to fix these properties that they have from other people or trying to put time and effort into other properties, they need to be growing and improving their Disney brand itself. We need to start seeing more movies and shows featuring their original Disney characters. That includes the Mickey Mouse gang, that includes the Disney princesses and stuff like that. That includes some of the original Disney movies that they made, like Tron and something like that. You need to put time and effort into that stuff. Fuck Marvel, fuck Star Wars, fuck ESPN, fuck Hulu. Those franchises didn't need your help at all. They were already doing a little bit better without you. I don't care what you got. I don't care what people say. I'm just gonna let you know there's a reason why these properties were ever grown before your ass. You know what I'm saying? And I get it for Marvel. They were going bankrupt, so Disney was like, we'll just scoop you in and buy you and stuff like that. But the problem is their sensibilities is starting to spread throughout Marvel as well. You get what I'm saying? And that's the problem. When you and then you have Disney trying to fight Florida, and then trying to add this whole ESG score and diversity and inclusion nonsense, and whatever BlackRock's doing, I don't care. Somebody need to figure out a way to get rid of that as well, because we can't put ESG scores over great storytelling and stuff like that. And if people want to complain about racism and diversity and not enough diversity and inclusion, oh well, boo-hoo, too bad. Because at the end of the day, profits matter a little bit more than do I have enough black people on the board or whatever, something like that. I mean, it's true, because think about it though. When they try to pivot and focus on diversity, inclusion, ESG scores or whatever, look at this crap. They gotta mitigate some of this shit, which means they gotta get some of this dead weight off of them. Closing down certain things in Disney isn't gonna work. You need to get rid of the IPs that you brought that you had no business buying in the first place. You need to get rid of things that are originally not Disney. The reason why I don't say anything about Pixar, because Pixar, it feels like that's kind of like a symbiote relationship or whatever, stuff like that. But maybe once you get rid of that stuff, you can actually put Pixar in a position to tell great stories again. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of this Marvel stuff. Get rid of the Star Wars stuff. Get rid of the Fox crap. Get rid of the Hulu crap. Get rid of the ESPN crap. You don't need that shit. You really don't need that shit. And the reason why I'm saying keeping ABC and Freeform, because ever since I was growing up, ABC always been part of Disney in the first place. So it's not seeing ABC not be part of Disney is kind of weird anyway. And it doesn't seem like, you know what I'm saying? It seems like that's a good relationship. So you can still put Disney stuff on either ABC or Freeform or whatever and stuff like that. Oh, and get rid of Disney Plus. Get rid of fucking Disney Plus. You're done. Disney Plus also needs to go. That's another dead weight. Just cut that hoe off. Because honestly, if you ask me, everything that's on Disney Plus should have been on either ABC, Freeform, or Disney Channel. That's really what should have been. That's really what should have been. Honestly, I'm just being honest with you. Instead of trying to do something on streaming services, or you should have rent them out to Netflix where you could have still got some money. I don't know who told y'all it was a good idea to do your own streaming service, but you're stupid. What should have happened is, instead of doing Disney Plus, Disney should have been making plans with Netflix and Hulu and whoever the other streaming services at the time, and realized like, hey, they're going to need some content. We got all of these Disney classic content. We got our Star Wars. We got our little things. We can premiere it on these other streaming services. They do a deal with us. We get money. Bam. Like, who the hell said let's make a competing streaming service with others, and then you still ain't profitable yet? Again, doesn't take a rocket scientist to put two and two together. I like y'all know I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. It's just common fucking sense. All you gotta do is read, watch, look at how these companies are going. Look at the ESG scores. Look at the ratings for what's going on. Look at the ups and downs of the stock market and prices. It is not looking all that great for Disney. You got to mitigate the bullshit, and you got to get rid of some of this shit. No, I don't think Apple should buy all of Disney, because what's the point? Apple doesn't need all of Disney. Disney needs to start getting rid of some of this shit. The shit that's holding them back. That's all I'm saying. I just think that that's what they should do. I think it's time to cut all of the unnecessary fat, all of the unnecessary IPs that they didn't create. Just like how they gave Power Rangers back, it's time to give back all of these other companies. And it's a shame on the government for even letting Disney even buy this much monopoly. They can't. The thing about it is that people need to understand is that I believe that Disney can't be a movie studio, a park, a family destination thing all at once. Like a video game publisher, development, and all that kind of stuff. Disney can't be all of this, because eventually, when you try to be everything, you're gonna start failing at everything. You need to be good at a few things. You know what I'm saying? Which means that they don't need Marvel Studios. They don't need Lucasfilm. They really don't. They don't need the Fox Studios. They don't need 20th Century Fox. They don't need they don't need Touchstones or whatever, all that nonsense. They do not need these movie studios. They have their Walt Disney Animation and they have their Walt Disney Studios. That's the two studios that they need for their movies, which means that they create original Disney stuff and their animated stuff for the Walt Disney Animation Studios. And then they got Pixar. Pixar should still be its own thing. Let them tell their amazing stories and put that shit to screen or to theaters, not putting it on Disney Plus. That's what you need to do. You need to get rid of this unnecessary fat. You need to focus on what makes Disney great. Which means that, because remember, Disney gets most of its money from its parks, which means that Disney needs to have a good standing foundation of their parks. If their parks are trash, and then the cartoons that they're showing, the movies that they're showing is trash, guess what? People aren't going to go to your parks anymore, because we've been hearing that the parks aren't really doing that great right now, because not only have the prices went up the roof like nobody's business. The fact that they're taking classical Disney properties and changing them around, Little Mermaid, Snow White, you know what I'm saying? These live action remakes are diluting the brand, and this whole diversity inclusion nonsense, taking characters and trying to talk about LGBT stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that kind of stuff and be a family park. You know what I'm saying? You have to have standards, which means that as families, most families do not want to hear about LGBT stuff. They don't. Don't get rid of classic rides like Splash Mountain and Magic magic space, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Things that you know are going to bring in the audience. Don't get rid of it. Who cares that some people are offended by it? That's them. They don't have to come to your park. But you can't talk about topics that needs to be off limits. LGBT, race, gender, sexuality shit. Um, you know what I'm saying? Even pronoun stuff. Bring back welcome all boys and girls and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because people feel like it's weird when that you address people as friends and stuff like that because it comes off creepy. Stop it. Stop it, Disney. You got to go back to what made you great back in the day, because eventually, remember, they all saying Icarus flew too high to the sun. You flew too high and now you're starting to burn. All of this stuff is starting to collapse. You don't have strong knees no more, so therefore your knees need to therefore in order to get your knees back together, you have to offload that crap off your back. There's a lot of stuff that you just got to get rid of. I mean, I'm just saying, I know a lot of people will be like, whatever, but I'm just saying, those are my personal opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.